Oh God. Ah, fuck. Fucking tea. God damn it. Oh shit, was that on? Alright, we're rolling. Hi, my name's Andrew. I'm a nascent writer from Brisbane, Australia, and this is the channel where no expense is spent, talking about writing, reading, no arithmetic. So anyway, just a quick update. 2 years of writing. This is what I've learned so far. This is the messy, honest truth about starting late, starting scared, and starting anyway. So to go on to, this is my backstory. For those of you who don't know, Christmas 2023, I started getting a pain in the side, and it turns out my appendix was about to burst. So laying in the hospital bed, I was looking up at the ceiling thinking, oh geez, if this was worse or bigger disaster or whatever, would I be happy with what I've achieved in life? And yes, to be honest, but there's a few things I've always wanted to do, little dreams as a kid of writing, and looking back, if I could speak to my younger self, how would I explain to him, the kid with all the dreams and the stories in his head, that no, you haven't done that. And I don't think I would have the heart to do that, even to myself. So that's when I was like, yep, you know what, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to do it. So fast forward 2.5 years of writing, this is what I've achieved. So far I've sold 2 short stories, one with Australian Nightmare Fuel magazine, a little horror story. It was 660 words. The theme was don't let them in. I don't think the website's going anymore, but I do have a copy of it on my Substack, so I'll link that below. Second story sold was another bit of a urban horror story, to a independent magazine in the United States. So I might publish that one to my Substack as well, so I'll put the link to the whole Substack below, and that will get published soon. So yeah, I was pretty chuffed that someone liked my writing enough that they pay me for it. So that's like, wow, I'm not moving into a mansion yet, but it's pretty humbling. Fast forward a bit, my first full finished manuscript was longlisted in the Hawkeye Publishing manuscript competition last year. So yeah, out of 200 participants, I was in the top 10%. So that's massive. You look at the list of people, and they're all published, accomplished writers, and then there's little old me. Like, you have to go down the list a fair way to see someone that hasn't been published before. So, and most recently, the Queensland Writers Centre, they have a monthly competition where they have a microfiction or short stories, 500 words. They have a theme each month, and this month I was the winner. winner chicken dinner. So yeah, the theme was one room, where the whole story has to be contained within one room, and I'm just as shocked as anybody that I've actually won. So that's pretty coveted little win, I believe. Yeah, they have a lot of I think it was the biggest one of the biggest turnouts they had in their competition, I heard, and yeah, I won. So that will be, I'll put a link to that below. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think of the story and where you think I'm going. So yeah, just to recap, that's pretty big, 4 big achievements for someone that's only been writing or taking it seriously for like 2.5 years. So I don't really have any formal training. I've been a lifelong reader, but I've done a couple of little short courses over the weekend. Shout out to the Brisbane Writers Workshop. Did a great job. Little day courses that really help give me a good foundation. So I've done the basic writing course, introductory to creativity creative writing, and then I also did a short story one. So that, basically everyone had to submit their little short story or write a short story. Everyone passed it around and we go in and critique, and that was pretty well received. I mean, looking back, there was a few things that I still have to fix up on that, but it was really well received. They were pretty shocked. They kept, "Oh, you've only been writing for that?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Yes. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but I'm just going to keep trying. So yeah, it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work. I always think, geez, I'm too old. I suck. No one cares. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not doing it to please other people. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. And if other people love it, then or even like it enough to go, yeah, give it a thumbs up or a click or a share, and that's pretty special. And I appreciate everyone that does that. And honestly, like, I'm not putting myself in the same class, but Tolkien didn't start writing Lord of the Rings till he was 45. So there's no limit to what you can achieve, and it's not dependent on when you start. Obviously, maybe 20 years ago would have been the best time to learn how to write properly, but the second best time is now. So that's the best advice I can give to anyone who's been thinking about writing, is just do it. Like, whether it's comic books, movies, like whatever, any creative field, whether you're good at it or not, it doesn't matter. Just do it, because literally no one can stop you. You're only stopping yourself, and you always get better each day. That's each day in every way. You're just getting better and better. That's it. So that's how I approach it. I try and think, well, if I'm slightly better today than I was yesterday, you stack those dubs up. And at the moment, I feel like I'm stacking up the wins very slowly. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of digression of motivation. But moving forward, I've planning on working on a bunch of novellas, fantasy ones. They are basically all like little self-contained stories. Oh, god damn it! I'll cut that out. And basically, it's a monster of the week sort of situation, or an adventure. Each one is different type of story. One might be a murder mystery, one's action adventure, one might be a zombie apocalypse type story. So, or a lit RPG, and the purpose of that is twofold. Just to be entertaining, so it keeps it fresh. Like back in the day, the 80s and 90s, where you have an episode of say the A-Team, the characters don't really change that much, but each week they're going on a different mission or doing something, or MacGyver, where he's helping out different people or doing different things. But you do have the occasional returning character like Murdoch that comes in, his arch nemesis. So my plan is to use a lot of the short stories I have in my Substack as like the first chapter in those novellas, and have one hero in each one hero in the series that goes on a different adventure each week, fighting different monsters or solving mysteries, doing whatever, just a bit of fun. It's going to be a bit irreverent. It's an excuse to put all the dad jokes in, or the laugh out loud sort of like silly comedy, and that's sort of the other fault is just to get that out of my system. Have my serious fantasy. You got to be super serious and dark, grim, dark, and raw, whatever the fuck. But this one's just going to be the bit tongue-in-cheek, bit of fun, bit silly, and just and the other component is just to learn the craft better. So most big time authors are all saying, it took me 10 years before I got my first book published. Or it took 10 different books, like Brandon Sanderson, did 10 or 11 books before Elantris was sold. Or Stephen Erickson took 10 years to try and get Gardens of the Moon published, and the list goes on. So yeah, my plan is a bit of rapid pace learning. If I can plan a story, make it make sense, make it good. Not so much rinse and repeat with that story, but the process of, alright, plotted, written it, edited it, sent it off to a proper publisher, or not a proper publisher, but an editor, fix it up, get a cover and self-publish, and go from there. I don't expect to move into a mansion anytime soon, but it would be cool as a little side hustle, hobby, whatever, to do that. So it might take off, it might not. You might be the only person watching this video in 10 years time and say, oh well, that didn't work out, boy, you did it. Or someone goes, holy shit, I can't believe he did it. So, and if I did, just drop something in the chat or whatever the fuck it is in 10 years time. Donos or whatever. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, that's all I have to ramble on about today. So if you made it this far, thank you very much. So until next time, keep writing.